Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 7 of the MDRN Future Podcast. I'm KL Smith, and today we're going to be talking about Tesla insurance. Insurance. The Tesla and Apple stock split that happened on Monday, and the NBA playoffs. Got to talk a little bit about the NBA playoffs, just a wee bit today. So let's hop right into Tesla insurance. I'm basically the title of this is Tesla's insurance is going to take over the insurance market. I'm really excited. They announced this product, I want to say last year, November-ish, December, something like that, of 2019, Tesla insurance. It could have even been October, and it seems like since that time to now, they've continued to kind of iterate and fix it, make it better. But they rolled it out in California first. I think they earlier this month, well, technically last month for August, they're trying to roll it out in China, and I'm sure they're trying to roll it out in more places in the U.S. I wouldn't be surprised if Texas pops up second, or New York or something like that. But they're going after the insurance market, and it totally makes sense. This has a huge potential to add a lot of value to the company. I don't think people are really talking about this enough. But I happened to see a tweet not too long ago where someone had mentioned, and actually I think someone posted a small article about it, but the guy saved like 64.5 or something like that percent on his insurance, switching from State Farm, where he was paying $551 a month, to Tesla insurance, where he ended up at like $191. I'm going off the top of my head. It's like $191 per month for his Model 3 and Model S, which is a tremendous savings, right? That's a lot of money to save on insurance. And, I wanted to kind of get into a couple things, but let's first talk about how insurance works, right? And you've heard Elon say this. He said it in their last quarterly earnings report. He mentioned actuaries. He wants to get some actuaries that revolutionize insurance. Now, an actuary is really a statistician, a mathematician, and they determine the statistical probability of profitability for the company based on the prices. Basically, they weigh the risks for your insurance premiums to ensure financial, basically, profitability, success for the company. If the premiums are priced too low, and you have a lot of accidents and payouts, then that'll bankrupt the company or they'll lose money. If they're priced too high, then no one is going to buy them because you'll get outpriced by your competition. That's, in a nutshell, how insurance works. Now, the problem with auto insurance, at least from the way that Elon has discussed it and Tesla in general has discussed it, is that insurance companies use really broad data when they set your price for your premium. So in addition to like the cost of the vehicle, right? So like, let's say you're driving a Mercedes, a BMW, a high-end exotic sports car or something like that, and you get into an accident, it costs more to repair that vehicle. So your insurance could be a little bit higher. Now, that's just based off of broad data that they have, going around, basically general driving behavior of the entire U.S., or in this case, population. So your personal driving history, your driving style, any of the data about you as a driver is really not taken into account when they do your pricing. That's not to say that they don't do that, but it's just typically not the norm. You can be provided a telematics device, but it doesn't really capture everything that's needed. When you compare that with Tesla, they have all the data. As soon as you get your car, you step on the gas, the pedal, accelerator, and you start moving. They're collecting data the moment you set foot in the vehicle and start driving around. On top of that, when you look at Tesla's vehicle safety reports, they basically have the safest vehicles on the road, right? And I talked about this in the very first episode, but they voluntarily released their safety records because they want to show how dominant they are versus the U.S. average. Now, the U.S. average per accident for miles driven is 479,000 miles. accounts for every one accident in the US. That's the baseline. Tesla is about 10 times better than that. So 4.53 million miles with autopilot engaged is their top end. Then it goes down to 2.26 miles with like not autopilot, it's active safety features, and then 1.56 miles without having the active safety features on, million miles versus that average. So at the very worst, they're about 3 times better. At the very best, they're about 10 times better, safer on the road. And that's not taken into account. My insurance premium is pretty ridiculous, and I'm with State Farm, so I can't wait to switch. So, that none of that is taken into account. So they really don't know how to handle Teslas in general when they look at the data, because they don't have the data. On top of that, insurers really don't know how to handle autonomous vehicles when you talk about autopilot and things like that. And so the further we move to autonomy, the more out of whack, basically, out of sync, the insurance companies are going to be. So how Tesla is solving this problem, and I mentioned this before, if you're a first-time Tesla owner, they have your data the moment you start driving, and they know the fleet's performance against everyone else. So, right, like if everyone is driving a Model 3, all the people that own one, they know the statistical probability that you will get into a wreck based off of what they have in their data. So they can price their premiums according to what they're seeing in their data. And as you can see, they have the safest vehicle on the road, so their premiums are a little bit lower, a lot lower. And they know that they can be more competitive with their pricing based on what they're seeing. So the faster they start rolling this out, the better off we'll be. On top of that, they have autonomous driving data. Nobody has autonomous driving. When I say nobody, none of the insurance companies have autonomous driving data. They don't have that. They don't have the vehicle repair data in your area for Teslas. They don't have any of that data, and Tesla has all of that. So, from that moment in time to whenever you get your next vehicle, Tesla has all of that. And what I found most fascinating, and I want to say I heard this on the quarterly earnings this past July, was that they could dynamically price your insurance too. Let's say you opt into a dynamically priced insurance premium with Tesla. And in this scenario, they actually take your driving data, all of it, into account. How fast are you going? How fast do you take that curve? Are you too close? Are you driving too closely? All of these things are taken into account. And imagine that if, for example, you went 10 miles over the speed limit consistently, there might be a little pop-up that says, hey, if you keep doing this, your insurance premium for the next month will be higher. That's pretty good incentive, and that's what they were kind of alluding to. That's a pretty good incentive to have some dynamic pricing for your premium. Let's say you don't get into any accidents. You're a perfect driver. Maybe that lowers your premium by a little bit, and then you're at the very the bottom of the rung monthly premium that they can get away with, while also maximizing the profitability of this. And so when you think about what this does for Tesla, and talk about the profitability, this is really, really, really big bucks, right? So in the US alone, the market size for insurance was $310 billion. That was basically this year, between State Farm, Progressive, Allstate, Geico, all the big names, and a bunch of other companies. And it's at about a 3.3% growth per year annually. So if you just take a little bit about, and mind you, I didn't even mention the profit. That's the revenue, total revenue. The profit for this, I think I want to say in 2019, was about $75 billion in profit for the industry, for the insurance industry. And that's just because there's not that many accidents going around, right? Like the actuaries are pricing at a point where they can maintain profitability without having to pay out tremendously. So if Tesla can, from the moment you sign up and purchase your car all online, and the insurance companies have, one, you have a previous car, you see this and you go, oh man, Tesla's beating them on price by a lot. you just automatically cancel your insurance and purchase your insurance with Tesla. And then State Farm or Geico or Allstate or whoever, how are they going to get you back? I don't know how they're going to get you back, because they would have to have all your driving data and price that competitively. Again, I want to mention this: 65% savings for one driver. That's really, really tough to do. And when you think about some of those things like dynamic pricing on your premium, I don't know how you can compete with that. And so when you talk about the profitability of this sector, this seems like a huge, huge opportunity for Tesla to make just a killing, just a lot of money in this space. So, I for one am very, very excited about Tesla insurance. I can't wait until it's in my state, because the moment that it is available, I will make sure to get it. Now, when you also think about this from if you're an investor in Tesla, like me, someone like that has Tesla Solar or the battery packs, the Tesla Power Walls, might also think, I wonder if Tesla offers home insurance. And so, once you offer car insurance, I don't see why they wouldn't do home insurance, at the very least, the roof insurance with the Tesla Solar Roof. So this seems like a strategic play. Maybe they get into smart homes, and do some prefab construction. That they're really into prefab, especially after the Gigafactory in Berlin. But this seems like a very good sector for them to get into. They seem like they're approaching it in a smart way, and they're using data, like very, very granular data, to make pricing that makes it tough for the competition to really step in and be a factor. So I'm again very, very excited about this. I can't wait till it rolls out in my state. I'm looking forward to making that switch, and hopefully having and maintaining the same insurance coverage that I have right now. So let's switch topics just a bit and get on to the stock split. I mentioned that a second ago with the value for Tesla, but let's talk about this stock split, right? So day one, and I was telling my brother about this. I knew it was going to happen. I think everybody knew it was going to happen that's following Tesla. The stock split, it's much cheaper. Started off at 443 on the day on Monday. It went up 12.57% in after hours trading. So it's like at 508-ish. So I gave my brother a prediction at the beginning of the day. I was like, I guarantee from the time where it starts that it'll break 500 on the first day. And sure enough, it did. So I felt pretty good. I actually called him up like I told you. And we got a good laugh out of it. But it felt good to be right. I think it's going to continue to run up until Battery Day. And Battery Day is either going to wow people because the expectations now are just they're astronomical levels. And so that's going to be pretty difficult to do to wow people. But I think the cult of Tesla, I could maybe be included in that. I don't know quite yet. I'd like to think I'm pretty even keel, but the cult of Tesla might look at whatever they say and continue to pump out really like positive stuff. I think bears and people that don't like Elon or don't like Tesla or don't like EVs, whatever, might look at it and say that, oh, that's not as good as I thought it was going to be. And I gave some pretty sound predictions in episode 6 on what I thought what's going to come out of Battery Day. So if you want to get my predictions, hear my predictions on that, you can listen to episode 6. But post Battery Day, there's a lot of stuff, right? You got the Cybertruck, you got the Semi, you got again Model Y ramping up all over the world. There's possibility of a compact. You got the battery storage. You got battery cell production. You got the solar walls. Maybe you get into HVACs, which Elon has said before. You got the insurance thing. There's just so much going on right now for Tesla. You would be absolutely crazy not to jump in, at the very least jump in now. And again, I'm not an advisor. I'm not a stock advisor. I'm not a professional. It just makes sense to get in on this opportunity while there's just a lot of products on the horizon, and from an EV standpoint, man, there's just no one touching them right now, and I think everyone else is pretty far behind when you look at just the full things of uh, just products that they have coming out. I didn't even mention autonomy, right? Like full self-driving, robo-taxi, just a crazy amount of stuff. The other company, obviously, is Apple, tried and true dividend stock. I invest in Apple. I love their products. I'm an iPad person, and they unveiled the iPhone 12. Well, not technically. There were photos that were leaked. Official photos were leaked of the iPhone 12. We know the unveiling is coming. Every single year we get something in there, and they have the services with the Apple TV and things like that. Look, they got the full suite. $2 trillion company. They're going to keep pumping out some pretty good stuff. They got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of money in the bank, over like $200 billion in the bank. They're set. The stock split, when it split, they went up 3.3%, I want to say, give or take. And everybody's having a good day so far. So they have their upcoming event. Again, I don't know what will happen after that. Their stock can either go down or up based off of more so than Tesla's. Tesla's is just riding this crazy wave, but Apple's could definitely be impacted by COVID, whatever forecast they give going into the later half of the year, and then performance based on the basically was a quarter 4 earnings will certainly impact that, making it go down or up. But it's like at 128, 130, might be 130. I think that's what it closed on. We'll see whatever time I release this, what it'll be at. It'll be around the time that stock market opens. So if you're listening to this, then it should go up a little bit, or at least remain flat. But they're tried and true. I think that we'll continue to see some really good performance there. But I'm happy about both of those. Both of them shot up a little bit. They're more affordable for the everyday investor. Can't talk enough about Tesla and what they have going on, because there's just so much on the horizon. And if you don't have your blinders on, and you're only saying like they're an automotive company, you're not looking at everything that they're doing, man, you're just missing the bigger picture. And from a company that's just like hot with their name and their product, and having such a polarizing CEO and founder in Elon, I think that makes it very compelling when you see him doing SpaceX, you see him doing the Boring Company, you see him doing Tesla, you see him doing Neuralink, and it's like, oh my God, he is involved with so many things that are not an app, a new little widget, whatever. Like, he's actually trying to change the world, and that's what I think is really mesmerizing people and making them gravitate toward whatever he's doing. God forbid anything happened to him, you just got to pay attention to what he's working on, because it's just that big of a difference. Now, let's get into some sports. NBA playoffs, right? So there's a couple things. I'm not going to touch too much on politics in this particular episode. I think next episode, we'll talk a little bit about what's happened, because I did my 3 weeks on, 1 week off, and then I'm back in action. But NBA playoffs took a little break. Per the Jacob Blake, I wouldn't call it a tragedy, but the pretty grotesque incident that happened with the police and him, and that got a lot of people fired up, and the teams took a little bit of a hiatus and said, hey, we can't play right now. It happened against the MLB, WNBA. NHL, everybody was just kind of like crazy, because not crazy, they were very passionate about what they saw, and they had a lot of feelings that they wanted to express, because at first view, that video is very, very, very disturbing to watch. Just talking about the NBA in general, I actually went into this 2019-2020 season with the utmost intention to watch everything. I bought my first NBA pass, and I'm a tried and true football person, right? I play college football, University of Cincinnati. I played football almost all my life, up until I was like 22, 21. And in high school, I was three sport athlete, and then I switched. I was playing basketball, football, ran track, and then I just did football and track. Um, and then when I went to college, I just did football. So I, for all my life, was very, very focused on the sport of football. And I don't know what it was about the sport. I won't say I dislike it. I've just grown very distant from it. It's brutal. It's a brutal, brutal sport, very physical. I have aches and bumps and cuts and bruises and surgeries and things that I've had because of football. And you can get, hurt playing any sport, really doing just about anything. But football is just on another level. And so as I've gotten older, I've just really gravitated away from it. And so this season, after a couple years of really, really like watching highlights of basketball, and then I always would watch the championship finals, and I've really fell out of touch with basketball once MJ left, right? But that being said, I did follow LeBron, and the only reason I followed LeBron is because I grew up in the Akron, Cleveland area. I played on a team called the Shooting Stars. I played on the 7th grade version of the team. LeBron played on the 8th grade version of the team. And so when we were in middle school, I knew who he was. I didn't talk to him very much, but I knew who he was. And I have just a connection to wherever he goes, I want to cheer for him. And so I'm not really a Lakers fan. The Lakers are more my brother's team. But I like LeBron, and so I want to see how well he does. And then Zion entered the NBA, and I had been actually watching him since he was in high school, sophomore year, and I was like, yo, he looks incredible. I can't wait to see how he does in the NBA. And so this is, again, like 3-4 years ago now, and so I watched him progress. Crazy year at Duke. Started off the NBA late, obviously, with this injury. Came into the NBA, is just a beast. I'm excited for him, and so I have somebody else I can follow. And I found that in the NBA, I don't really like teams that much. Again, if you grew up like I grew up, you probably like the Chicago Bulls in the 90s. I also like Orlando when they had Penny and Shaq. But outside of that, like, I never really liked basketball. I just liked football. And so for whatever reason, the more I started watching specific players and following some of the high school basketball, and then I started looking at a little bit of college. I don't really watch too much college sports, but a little bit of college. I just kind of gravitated toward watching a lot of highlights, actually, of NBA basketball. And then that prompted me to want to watch more games live. And so I bought this NBA pass thinking, I'm going to watch a bunch of live games. And I did watch quite a few live games. And then COVID hit, and I don't know what it is about COVID, but it has made me not want to really watch sports. I know a lot of people were like, I can't wait to get back into things. I can't wait to watch and get back into the routine. I want to watch sports. And the athletes want to entertain. And, for whatever reason, it's just like the seriousness, the weight of COVID has made me not want to watch the playoffs, not really want to watch sports, and just feel like all of that is like silly. So I haven't really been into it as much. I've watched a couple games, highlights of games. I haven't even watched the live version of games. Just to keep track and see, generally speaking, how teams are doing. But, there's just a lot that has happened, right? Between when COVID hit and shut down everything to, George Floyd, and, we got the presidential election coming up, and politics and all of this protesting, and just a lot. And like, sports I know it seems like an escape, but it seems so trivial in the light of like what's going on. And so seeing athletes deal with the weight of like, I'm playing this game, but also there's like real life things that are not this game that are happening, that are affecting the lives of people that look like me, my color, or just the tragedy of the deaths that have occurred because of this virus, and people not wanting to take that serious, or there's just so much. And sports seems so trivial and in light of that. And so that's part of the reason I've gotten back on this podcast. I've started writing again, trying to make whatever difference I can with, being conscious about the climate, and, how you make more money, just financial security, and talking about the future in a way that's not all doom and gloom. Like there's a lot of great things that are happening, and maybe that's the message that people feel like they get when they turn on the game. But as soon as that game goes off, like you're back into the mode of where you are. And so I feel like it's better to just like keep moving and doing the things that you do that affect your life in a positive way, not necessarily being stationary. And again, sometimes being in a good mental state, watching the playoffs, taking a break, and doing those things is just good for the soul. But using it, I think, as an escape all the time and not making progress on the things that really are impacting you and making you feel bad, or be down on things, just doesn't bode well for me personally. So I don't know what it is. I just haven't been super into it. I've gotten my updates on the NBA, but it's been a lot lately, and I just don't know when I'm gonna feel like things are back to normal. Maybe when arenas are filled again, and I'm out traveling and I get to actually go to some games. There's some tickets to some games that I could have got this year that I talked about with some colleagues, and that didn't happen because COVID hit. So there's some stuff that I would really like to see resolved, and I think the presidential election is one that I just want to get that done and over with and behind me for 2020 as quickly as possible, because I think that the aftermath of either way is going to be particularly stinky. It's not going to be good, and I'm voting Biden. Just so everybody's clear, I'm voting Biden, but I just don't know where that's going to put us in the future. So anyway, I'll talk more about some of that probably in the next episode, just talking about politics a little bit and what's been going on, and giving some thought and weighing in on that. But I did want to talk about playoffs a little bit. Haven't been too focused on it. Again, don't particularly have a team that I care for too much, but again, from a player side, I like LeBron, I like Zion, and that's really it. I like a hype beast in the NBA. I don't really I don't really have a team allegiance, no favorites. So whoever wins is going to win. I like seeing great play. I don't like teams stacking and winning. LeBron did it back with the Heat. Again, I still love LeBron, but he did it with the Heat. And the Golden State Warriors, they did it with Durant, KD. That's not cool. That's not cool. I like it where it's at right now. It seems pretty balanced. This seems like the appropriate way the NBA should be played. But again, no team allegiances. So if there's anything you guys have a comment on, leave it down in the comment section. Hope you guys enjoyed it today, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.